My beloved child, when you learn to place your refuge in me, you will no longer have to live like someone always standing by the door, listening to every sound to guess whether you are still loved. You will no longer have to examine every glance, every silence, every delay in a reply, and turn them into a sentence against your worth. I am not telling you to close your eyes to reality, nor am I telling you to cast aside wisdom in discerning people's hearts. I only want to remove from you the fear that has turned observation into a battle for survival. You can still see, but not as one searching for a lifeline. You can still recognize what is not right, but you do not have to let it define you. You can still understand that someone is sad, distant, or changing, but you no longer have to immediately ask yourself, is it because I am not good enough? When your foundation returns to me, the details around you are no longer the scale that measures your dignity. They are only signs to help you walk more wisely. I know you have lived for many years with a heart stretched tight, trying to read the world. You hear a voice lowering, and your heart immediately contracts. You see a message arrive late, and your mind begins running down paths of fear. You notice a face smiling less than yesterday, and inside you have already prepared an apology for a mistake you are not even sure you made. You thought you were being careful, but in truth, you have grown so weary from guarding love as though guarding a lamp about to go out. My child, true love that comes from me does not make you live in a state of alarm. True love does not require you to stand watch all night just to be allowed to remain. True love does not place you in the defendant's chair simply because someone is silent, busy, or does not yet know how to love you rightly. I am teaching you to step out of the habit of accusing yourself every time the atmosphere in a relationship changes. There will be days when you wake and find your heart strangely at peace, not because everything has been resolved, not because someone has just spoken a word of assurance to you, not because the future has suddenly become as clear as you have long desired. You simply open your eyes, take a breath, and realize that you are no longer being pulled immediately into the fear of preparing for the worst. That peace may confuse you, because you have been accustomed to thinking that peace must be purchased with evidence, promises, control, and clear signs from outside. But I tell you that the peace I give is not a reward after everything has become stable. It is a dwelling place, an atmosphere, a covering, a quiet stream flowing beneath the changes of daily life. You do not need to dissect it to discover where it came from. You only need to receive it, remain in it, and let it teach your body and soul to remember how to rest. Do not fear peace simply because it is not loud. Sometimes you become so used to tension that when gentleness draws near, you begin to distrust it. You wonder whether you are becoming careless, whether something bad is waiting ahead, whether you should imagine a few more scenarios so that you will not be caught by surprise. But, my child, not every silence is the pause before a storm. There are silences that are the mark of my hand resting upon the places that once trembled within you. There are light spaces in your heart that prove I am teaching you to leave behind the old life of self-defense. You do not need to turn peace into a problem to solve. Peace is not given so that you may analyze it until you are exhausted. Peace is given so that you may live, be present, and love without always fearing that you will be left behind. When I change your place of security, I do not take away the deep sensitivity I placed within you. I know you often perceive what others do not say. You can feel the shift of color in a room, hear sorrow behind an ordinary sentence, and see weariness behind a smile. That may be a gift, but every gift needs to rest upon a foundation of safety. Otherwise, what was meant to help you love will become an alarm bell that never stops ringing. You will read the faces of others as though reading a map of danger. You will measure every tone, as though measuring how close you are to being abandoned. You will use your tenderness to wound yourself before the truth has time to be revealed. I do not blame you for this. I know many reactions in you were born from seasons when you had to protect yourself. But now, I want to bring that gift back into its proper order. Remember, sensitivity placed in love becomes understanding. Sensitivity placed in fear becomes excessive vigilance. One helps you draw near to others with compassion. The other makes you withdraw in exhaustion. One helps you listen. The other makes you guess and condemn yourself. One makes you gentle. The other makes you weary from always expecting something bad to happen. I do not want you to lose your depth. I only want you to stop letting that depth become the well into which you fall. When you are anchored in me, you can feel without being swept away, discern without panicking, and love without losing yourself in the moods of others. My beloved child, there are days when what weighs on you is not that the road before you is truly too dangerous, but that you are not allowed to see the whole road. You stand between the present and the future like standing on a bridge covered in mist. Behind you are the things that have passed. Before you is the fog that has not yet opened. And within your heart, questions chase one another without rest. You want to know what will happen, who will stay, which opportunity will come, which door will close, which turn is right, and whether today's step will lead you into peace or into another cycle of weariness. Because you cannot see everything, you begin building images that do not yet exist. You place each what if on the table and turn it over again and again, as though if you think long enough, you can pull tomorrow into your sight. But, my child, the future does not become bright because of your tension. It does not open because you worry more. It does not lie obediently in your hands just because you have lost sleep calculating it. There are things that bloom only in my appointed season. And when you try to force open a flower while it is still a bud, you only tear your heart in exhaustion. I know you do not worry because you are bad, nor do you calculate because you wish to resist me. Many times you worry because you were once surprised by pain, wounded by something you were not prepared for, and left standing before breakages that came so quickly you promised yourself you would never again be caught helpless like that. You thought that if you considered every possibility in advance, you would be safer. You thought that if you watched every turn, you would not suffer loss. You thought that if you controlled tightly enough, your life would not fall from your hands. But, my beloved child, that watchfulness is stealing your breath. It makes you live in one day, while your mind dwells in 10 days that have not yet come. It makes you sit before today's meal, while your heart is already standing in the imagined storms of tomorrow. It makes you hear an ordinary word and immediately build an entire fearful story around it. And the more you try to protect yourself with anxiety, the more you realize you are not being protected. You are only imprisoned in a room full of shadows of things that have not happened. Hear me speak to you with the voice of a father who does not want you to strain any longer. You were not created to hold the entire future in your hands. Your hands are precious, but they were made to do what is right before you, to sow a good deed, to lift up someone weak, to open the right door, to write a truthful word, to embrace the present with faithfulness. Those hands were not made to carry the whole sky of tomorrow. When you try to hold what only I can hold, you do not become stronger. You only pull yourself out of the place of peace. Anxiety often disguises itself as wisdom, but beneath that garment, it wants to sit in a place that does not belong to it. It tells you that if you loosen your grip, everything will collapse. If you rest, something bad will sneak in. If you do not think through every possibility to the very end, you will have failed yourself. But I tell you, watchfulness is not the same as panic. Preparation is not the same as taking control. And responsibility does not mean you must master what is in my hands. Long ago, my people passed through the wilderness and were fed with bread from heaven. They were not allowed to store it up for many days according to their own will, because I wanted to teach them a lesson deeper than having food. I wanted them to learn the rhythm of trust. Each morning, enough for that day was given. Not enough for every fear of the whole month. Not enough for every question of the whole year. But enough for the steps of today. Some wanted to keep extra because they feared tomorrow would lack. But what they kept outside, my guidance spoiled. Understand this. My child, my grace is always real. But it often comes day by day. Rhythm by rhythm. Portion by portion. So that you do not turn blessing into a storehouse of fear. I do not leave you hungry on the road. I simply do not place the whole journey into your hands in one morning. Because if you carried it all, you would forget to hold my hand. Therefore, what I invite you into today is not cold resignation, nor a careless life that lets everything drift. I invite you to return to your rightful place. Your rightful place means doing what has been entrusted to you, without claiming the part that belongs only to me. Your rightful place means thinking clearly, without allowing your thoughts to become a whip that strikes your heart all night. Your rightful place means preparing what needs to be prepared, saying what needs to be said, correcting what needs to be corrected, choosing what needs to be chosen, and then placing the rest in my hands. When you make one small decision in faithfulness, that is enough for today. When you take one upright step, that is enough for today. When you do not know everything that comes afterward but still choose not to betray peace, that is enough for today. I do not require you to have light for the whole road. I give you light for the next step. And in that next step, you will meet me. You have often confused not being in control with being powerless. But, my child, you are not powerless when you cannot see the whole future. You are simply human, and that does not make you less valuable before me. True helplessness begins when you try to do what is not yours to do. When you stay awake through the night trying to solve situations that have not yet come. When you condemn yourself for not knowing every event in advance. When you brace yourself as though the order of your whole life depends on the tension of your mind. I did not create you to stand guard over every crossroads of the universe. I created you to live in my presence, to hear my voice in the present, and to place your heart in a faithfulness greater than every change. There is a very sacred moment that happens when you truly release what does not belong to you. It does not always come like thunder. It often comes like a long breath finally released after many days of being held. You no longer argue with every possibility in your mind. You no longer try to win an imagined battle. You no longer force yourself to know what I have not yet revealed. In that stillness, you do not become lazy, you become aligned. You do not lose responsibility. You rediscover the boundaries of responsibility. You do not grow weaker. You are set free from the garment that was too heavy for you to wear. When you return the throne to its rightful place, your heart stops trying to govern what is beyond its strength. When you whisper in silence that I am the keeper of tomorrow, the present stops being strangled by the future, and you begin to breathe like one who has been brought home. My beloved child, there is one truth I want to place very deeply in the most hidden part of you. You have never been left alone. Even if in past days you sometimes felt as though you were standing in a wide room where no one heard your sigh. Even if at times you looked around and thought everyone was so busy with their own lives that there was no room for your weariness. I was still there, nearer than you could name. I do not stand far away observing you like a stranger looking through a window. I am right there in the silences you thought were empty, in the breath you tried to keep steady, in the tear you swallowed because you did not want anyone to worry. You do not need to remember every teaching, carry every great thing, or understand every path before you can be at peace. Remember only one simple truth. Firm as stone, I am with you, and my presence does not leave you when you are weak, when you are afraid, or when you do not know how to take the next step. There are times when you think you must speak beautifully, pray correctly, and explain your heart completely before I will listen. But, my child, I do not wait for you to find graceful words before I bend down. I hear even the words that have not yet taken shape. I understand even the broken sigh. I know even what you dare to think for only a moment and then quickly hide because you fear you are too weak. When you place your hand on your chest and realize that it is tired there, know that I am not repelled by that weariness. I do not turn away because you are not yet strong. I do not demand that you be radiant before you come near. One honest word from you is enough to open a gentle expanse of light. When you whisper that you need to be upheld, I am already near. When you confess that you are afraid, I do not accuse you. I place light in the very place where fear is trembling. Your truth before me does not strip you of dignity. It brings you into the arms of healing. So do not continue bracing yourself as though all of life were an endless contest. You have become too used to trying to prove that you are fine, trying to do everything correctly, trying to move quickly so you will not be left behind, trying to smile so no one will see your heart sinking. But I did not call you into life so that you would be exhausted by the role of being strong. I called you to walk with me, not to run ahead of me. Your next step is not always to do more, say more, or achieve more. Often the holiest next step is to pause and breathe, to lay down a worry that does not belong to you, and to allow your heart to rest beneath the shadow of my love. Trust is not giving up. Trust is ceasing to grip everything in fear and beginning to hold my hand in faith. Look at the way I have led my children through every age. When Elijah was so weary that he wanted to collapse beneath the broom tree, I did not come to him with harsh rebuke, nor did I force him immediately to rise and do great things. I allowed him to rest. I fed him with bread and water. I let him sleep, then gently called him up at the proper time. Do you see? There are seasons when I heal you, not by thunder, but by rest, not by a great command, but by small acts of care, not by pushing you into another race, but by teaching you to receive enough nourishment for the next part of the journey. If a weary prophet was tended by me so gently, then you, my beloved child, do not need to be ashamed that you need to rest in my arms. From now on, do not let anxiety fill every room of your day. Do not let the morning be carried away by things that have not happened the moment you open your eyes. Do not let the evening close under the weight of questions that have no answer. Let there be holy spaces in your day where you do not have to explain, defend, or hurry. A slow breath can become a prayer if you breathe with the awareness that I am near. Jess, an ordinary step can become a sacred walk if you take it in peace. A simple meal, a familiar chair, a small corner of a room, a road you pass each day can all become places of encounter if you stop thinking that I am present only in grand moments. I am not only in the radiant sanctuary, I am also in the quiet kitchen, beside the edge of the bed where you sit down, and on the path you take home when your heart is tired. Open your eyes with a new vision. My beloved child, the place where you live is not as ordinary as you think. The house you enter each day can become a home lit by my presence. The dining table can become a place where gratitude blossoms. The bed can become a place where tears are dried. The familiar path can become a corridor of grace. When you live with the awareness that I am there, every simple thing begins to be sanctified by love. Not because objects have changed, but because the way you are present has changed. Not because circumstances have suddenly become perfect, but because peace has found a dwelling within you. And when that peace resides in you, It will touch others without your needing to display it. A person who has been loved by holy love carries a gentle fragrance, making those nearby feel that they can breathe more deeply, rest a little longer, and believe that light still remains in life. I do not want you to live like someone who must always impress. Your true presence is more precious than every arranged appearance. You do not need to enter a room under the pressure of needing to be noticed, acknowledged, or proven valuable. Your worth was placed upon you by me before you did anything remarkable. When you know you are loved by me, you can be present without competing. You can listen without fearing you will fade. You can speak gently without fearing you will be seen as weak. You can do small things with a large heart, because you no longer use achievement to ask for love. My love is not a reward placed at the end of a race. It is the warmth surrounding you from the very first step. Now, my child, rise in a new gentleness. Do not rise to carry more than you have been assigned. Do not rise to try to please everyone. Do not rise to keep hiding your exhaustion behind a hardened smile. Rise to live, to breathe, to walk with me through the very ordinary things of today. Wash your face with hope. Open the door with gratitude. Do the work before you with peace. Tell yourself that you do not need to move faster than grace. I am not rushing you. I am not pushing you to race against others. I lead you step by step, rhythm by rhythm, day by day, and every small step in my hand has value. If today you can do only one thing, let it be returning to my presence. If you can say only one word, let it be true. If you have strength for only one step, take that step in the faith that I am holding you. Every heartbeat within you is a gentle reminder that life is still being given, that grace is still flowing, and that I am still calling you back to the portion of peace prepared for you. You do not have to live heavily, as though everything depended on your strength. You are allowed to rest in me, allowed to receive support, allowed to begin again. I am here, my beloved child. I was here in the days you did not recognize me. I am here in this very moment, and I will be here on every road ahead. Breathe deeply, walk lightly, live truthfully, for I am making the very place where you stand into a home of peace. My beloved child, there are doors in life that do not open with a great noise, do not shake mountains and hills, and do not make everyone around you stop and look. Yet they are still true doors, still openings that come from my hand. You have become used to looking for signs in radiant events, used to thinking that when I act, everything outside must immediately change. Someone must confirm it. A wide road must stretch before your eyes, or an invitation must sound like a trumpet. But many times, the most sacred things begin very quietly, right in the middle of an ordinary day, in a familiar room, on an old road, among unfinished duties and questions that still remain. You look around and say, everything is still the same. But I look into the depth within you and say, no, you are different. The door opens not because the world around you has suddenly become easier, but because you have been prepared in silence through seasons no one saw, through the times you chose softness instead of bitterness, trust instead of surrendering to despair, and standing before me instead of chasing the noise that scattered your heart. Perhaps you do not realize you have grown, because true maturity often does not enter your life with applause. It comes like roots going deep into the soil, quiet, steady, needing no praise. It comes in the moment when you want to answer from a place of hurt, but hold your lips. It comes in the night when you lie down with a heavy heart and still whisper for me to keep you from becoming hard. It comes on the day when you no longer have the strength to dream something great, yet still have enough heart to do one small right thing. You thought those things had no value, but in my eyes, they were stones being placed into the foundation. I saw every time you returned to the light, even while your steps still trembled. I saw every time you wiped your tears and still chose not to do evil. I saw every crack in you filled with humility, every old place within you softened by forgiveness. Therefore, when the door opens today, it is not a surprise to me. It is the result of a ripening season that has quietly taken shape within you. Do not despise the days when you thought you were standing still. There are seasons that look like delay in your eyes, but before me, they are cultivation. A seed does not disappear when it lies in the soil. It is splitting open, undergoing a change that the surface has not yet had time to tell. Many times you asked why I let you remain in the same place, face the same fear again, and encounter the same lesson, but you did not know that right there. I was teaching you a new rhythm of breathing. I am not only preparing the door for you, I am preparing you for the door. A door opened too early could confuse you. An opportunity arriving when your heart is not yet steady could become a burden. A blessing received while old things still control you could lead you away from purpose. So I have slowly built you up, not according to your impatience, but according to the mercy that knows your true capacity. Remember David, my child. Before he entered the palace, he was in the field with the sheep. In days when no one thought that was the place where a king was being prepared, there was no throne in that pasture, no courtiers standing around, no crown waiting upon his head. There was only wind, dust, silent footsteps, nights of keeping watch, and confrontations with wild beasts that few people knew about. Yet it was precisely in that hidden place that I formed a heart that knew how to depend, how to be courageous, how to sing in loneliness, and how to protect what had been entrusted to him. When the time came, the oil poured upon his head was not because of one suddenly beautiful day, but because a hidden journey had ripened him before me. So it is with you. There are quiet pastures in your life that are not abandonment. They are the places where I teach you to keep what is small, so that you may later step into what is greater without losing purity. Therefore, when you feel a slight movement within your heart, do not hastily doubt it as a passing emotion. There are things I place within you before I place you into new circumstances. Before the path becomes clear, I often make your heart less afraid. Before the invitation arrives, I loosen your grip on what is old. Before the new land opens, I make the roots within you deep enough not to be carried away by the wind. You may not yet see the whole road, but you begin to sense another stream of light within familiar things. What once paralyzed you no longer holds you as tightly as before. What once made you avoid and withdraw no longer frightens you so much that you must run away. What once made you think you were unworthy now begins to lose its voice. That is the sign of a door that is already opened in the depths before it appears outwardly in life. Yet, my beloved child, an open door is not always an invitation to run quickly. Often it is an invitation to walk with deep awareness. I do not open a way for you to hastily prove that you have changed. I open a way for you to walk in peace, humility, and a deeper ability to listen. Do not let eagerness become haste. Do not let a new opportunity pull you away from the gentleness I have formed in you. Do not carry an old mind into a new path and call it obedience. The door I open will not require you to trade away righteousness, will not require you to go against the quiet prompting within your heart, and will not require you to become hardened in order to keep what I give. What comes from me will draw you nearer to me, make you purer, and teach you to love more rightly. It will not lead you away from the truth. Perhaps you will ask, what should I do now? Begin by standing still long enough to recognize that I am there. Lay down the habit of seeing yourself as someone forever trapped. Stop calling the years that have passed useless, for I have used them to teach you the difference between the voice of fear and the voice of guidance. Prepare your heart like one opening a house to welcome the morning light. Remove words of self-condemnation. Sweep away the dust of regret. Fold up the old garments of inferiority, and let gratitude light a new lamp within you. When a door opens, what is needed most is not the noise of hurried footsteps, but a ready heart, a tender obedience, and a faith that no longer needs to understand everything before it agrees to step. Do not fear that you are not yet perfect and therefore may not step through. If I waited for you to be perfect before opening a door, you would never know grace. I do not open the door because you have repaired yourself so completely that you no longer need me. I open the door because you have learned to need me more truthfully. I do not call you into a new season so that you may forget all old wounds by covering them with a layer of brightness. I call you to step through so that what has been healed in silence may begin to bear fruit in the light. You do not need to carry the fear that you will lose the good thing that has just arrived. What I give, I also have the power to preserve. Your part is to walk close to me. Keep your heart pure. Listen to my gentle promptings, and not let old wounds teach you to distrust a new door. Today, right in the midst of things that may seem the same as yesterday, I want you to recognize a gentle truth. You are no longer standing in the same place within. A deep part of you has been enlarged. A new courage has been sown. A new maturity has arrived. Though you have not yet found its name, the door is opening, not so that you may escape life, but so that you may step into life as someone more true, more free, and more radiant. Step through, not with pride, but with gratitude. Step through not to prove anything to anyone, but to answer my call. For I saw your season when it was still only a small seed in dark soil. I cared for it through rain, cold, silence, and tears. And now, as the hinge moves gently, believe that it is my hand opening it, not to overwhelm you, but to lead you into the new land where what I have quietly done within you will begin to shine.